man, I really hope Jakks Pacific doesn't handle future releases like this again, especially with all the cool stuff coming out in January. Man, oh man. January 2021. It was supposed to be so hype. All the new Jakks Pacific stuff was said to be coming out in January, when in fact nothing was coming out in January. The collector figure, that's what they're calling it, is coming out in February. It's even up for pre-order on Amazon. You know I copped that shit. And Wave 3 of the 2.5 inch figures also are not coming out in January. They already came out in December. So as soon as I caught wind of this, I blasted my ass to Target every day for a decent while till I eventually found them. They even had Wave 1 of the 4 inch figures for some reason. Hey Tails. Then I bought them and here we are. Wave 3 of the 2.5 inch figures from Jakks Pacific. Let's get them out of the packaging. Here's the gang all together, and the re-release of the wave is none other than Metal Sonic. First off, here we got a variant of Tails. The painting and sculpting on him is pretty alright, and the clear difference between this figure and the original is obviously those new Tails. Tails literally has a whole ass Beyblade attached to his butt. No, seriously, it's a fucking Beyblade. It's so awesome. The tails are sculpted in a way to give off that very nice motion blur effect, and it turns out pretty well. I love how it looks. Once again, his tails are attached via a ball joint, so they have full range of movement and can pop off and back on again. And thankfully, Tails still has his iconic asshole. The only issue I have with my figure is this really nasty nosebleed, or paint bleed, where it looks like he has some really gross black booger on his nose. It wouldn't be that big a deal if it wasn't so damn noticeable. It's really distracting and kind of just ruins the figure, in my opinion. Here we got the legendary mythological golden Chao figure. He's rather simple in design since he's just painted all gold and has the really plain black eyes, which I do kind of like more than the regular blue eyes, but he reuses the same godlike sculpt of the Chao figure, so of course he hangs out with the goat and Android Sonic. Next up we got the Moto Bug figure, and my word, Jakks really went all out with this figure. This is the greatest Moto Bug I have ever witnessed. They really went all out with the amazing detail, sculpt work, and painting. They even went through the effort of giving us a freaking display stand. How nice of them. It just clips into a little peg hole on his wheel and he rests upon it so beautifully and gracefully. I love this so much. It even has articulation on his little claw things. There's a universal joint so it can hinge up and down and swivel. Check this out. The wheel actually moves. It's not just a solid hunk of plastic. You can roll it around. The tire is even made of rubber and it spins excellently. I've never been this in love with a wheel before. These two little thruster pipe looking things also move side to side slightly. There's also these two visible little screws on the side. I'm low-key kind of interested what happens if I take them out, so I went ahead and took them out and nothing happened. Everything's still held together by this amazing wheel. Everything about this little guy is amazing. I love him. There's just this one teensy tiny little issue with my figure, and it's just this little paint error by his, what are these, teeth? Yeah, it's not that big a deal. It's barely even noticeable, especially from the front, unlike fucking Tails' paint bleed. Lastly, we have the figure that I think y'all have been anticipating the most, and how do I put this nicely? It's kind of dog shit. Yeah, unfortunately, I really don't like this figure, and I have a lot of issues with it that aren't exclusive to me. The biggest offense from Jakks Pacific when it came to this guy is obviously those damn teeth. They managed to make the mouth worse than Knuckles and Supersonic. How is that even possible? He's supposed to be smiling, I think, but it doesn't look like that at all. It looks like he's fucking biting on his lower lip. His mouth is so shitty and stupid looking. How is this approved? What were they thinking? Alright, I'll give credit where credit is due. The head sculpt itself is actually pretty good, and the paint apps were applied very nicely. Heck, even the face looks good if you cover up the mouth. Alright, those are the only compliments I'm giving. Back to being negative. Look at his arm. I hate it. You think it'd be a good thing that they finally gave a figure straight arms for once, but they failed at that too by having the hands stuck at a waving position. As a wave, it gets the job done, but repositioning it in any way, shape, or form makes it look absolutely ridiculous and awful. His other arm is even worse. Talk about being bent to the max. This thing is barely maneuverable to be put into a decent or natural looking position. It even looks like shit in the default pose it's supposed to be in. Look at Wave 2 Sonic. Amazing. Yeah, his elbow is also bent, but it looks good in any pose you put it in. This idiot looks like he should have a cast on. Most of the 2.5-inch figures are sculpted with a specific pose in mind, but they can be manipulated in a way that makes it fun to pose or play with them. Then we have his shitty ass legs. If you point the joint straight, which is normally how they're supposed to be defaultly, his legs have all kinds of weird fucking contortions. His feet are pointing in opposite directions. One leg is bent inwards and the other leg is just jutting out. This jackass can't even stand upright. If you straighten out the thigh joints, only one foot will be flat at a time because of how stupidly they're sculpted. Or if you point the feet forward instead, still just one foot is flat and the other is just levitating. It's really, really obnoxious. Much like this cringe paint chip, there's an even worse figure at the store. The only good thing on this figure is the face sculpt, when you cover the mouth that is. He looks really ugly and constipated when his stupid teeth are showing. For those of you wondering if he scales well with the 4-inch figure, it kinda does. It's still really small in my opinion. He's just barely bigger than the Tomy figure. So that was wave 3 of the 2.5-inch figures from Jakks Pacific. Overall, it was pretty alright. Obviously, Classic Sonic brings it down by a lot. If I were going to rank these figures from worst to best, it would obviously be Classic Sonic as the worst. He's just so stupid and ridiculous. His face also looks like he's constipated. Then, Spinning Tails tails. The Beyblade tails are really cool, but ugh, that yunky paint bleed. And the best are clearly the godlike Golden Chao and Chad Moto Bug. Sorry for the excessive cursing and negativity in this video. I just couldn't stand Jakks doing my boy Classic Sonic dirty like this, but I do want to show my appreciation and gratitude for this awesome Moto Bug figure. It's amazing. I love it so much. Thank you. And the line was still solid, just one bad figure. Oh, and I finally have a shelf for all my 2.5-inch figures and my 3 Tomy figures. So with that, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And what are your thoughts on wave 3 of the 2.5-inch figures from Jakks Pacific? I'd love to know. And if you want to go the extra mile, share this video with a friend you think would enjoy it. Bye! Thanks for watching!